Hey, this is Debbie with Cultural Alignment Solutions. I am thrilled that we are here today with the Expansion Factor podcast. I am even more thrilled to introduce to you our guest. She has a very special place in my heart. Her name is Rachel Mangan, and I have to tell you, I am her proud mother. So I am very excited that she's here today. Rachel is the CEO and the owner of Gabriel Therapy Group, and she is a speech pathologist. And that is all I am going to tell you because I want Rachel to share with you what brought her to this point. Why in the heck does my daughter own her own company? And tell us a little bit about the things that you do, Rachel. Welcome, by the way. Welcome.
Thanks,
Yes.
Mom. Yeah. No, I am super grateful to be here. I am very grateful to be a part of this podcast. Expansion has been a word that we have talked about immensely over the past however many years. So I'm grateful to be here. I am in the position to own my own company because I am raised by entrepreneurs. So I think that it is partly in my blood, but also very much part of something that fuels my spirit as well. And in fueling that, I've learned so much just from working with you over the past many years, professionally, not just as my mom personally, but also professionally from a coaching standpoint and learning and growing in that. I have had a desire from the beginning of my career to have my own private practice. And after years of experience in different capacities of the hospital, school-based, and private practice, as I started that private practice journey, my son Lance was diagnosed with pediatric brain cancer. And so I did have to push pause for quite a few years because that took precedence. And he is doing fantastic. He was 6 when he was diagnosed, but now he is a 15-year-old thriving high school boy, which is absolutely wonderful. But now that I'm able to dive back into all of it and be mom, but also be professional, I couldn't help but think of a better name, my husband and I, of Gabriel, which is his first name, and then putting that into our therapy group, Gabriel Therapy Group. So I am the proud owner of Gabriel Therapy Group. I treat as a speech language pathologist, but also help run the company, and super excited to be here.
Yes. And you know that the thing is, Rachel, you're being rather humble. A lot of times when there are people that have their own private practice and they are the company, right? They are
Mm,
the one that's there.
yeah.
Unpack for us what your company looks like on the inside.
We have, I am so proud and so grateful of our team. We are, this year, we're 3.5 years in existence. Gabriel Therapy Group is. We were founded in November of 2021. And since November of 2021, we now have grown to this point with 23 team members. We have 21 providers, 2 full office time office support people. We have several school contracts that we navigate. We have offices in Maitland, Florida and Claremont, Florida. And I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it without the full team that's supporting us. We have an incredible leadership team. My husband also is full-time in the business as well. And so I cannot by any means take credit for all of it. It definitely takes a team, but through relationship, through diligence and trusting the process and taking time, I absolutely cannot believe what has been accomplished in 3.5 short years. And to even remotely think what's going to happen in the next 3.5 years is mind blowing to me. That's where I have to push pause, reverse, and come back to this space. But yeah, we are a thriving practice and consistently growing. We have over 350 clients. And then we also have some schools that we support in adaptive PE. So schools that do not have your neurotypical student population. They have needs of all different types. So we are able to provide adaptive PE that's rooted in physical therapy and those approaches, as well as social skills support that basically helps us all build relationships with people around us, which we all need in a lot of
Yeah.
capacities. So I really love what we do. I love being able to support from ages 0 all the way up to through 22. But even then, our practice takes a huge parent coaching approach to what it is that we do. And through that, I like to say that we work with people of all ages, because even when we have a session, what we do in that 30 to 60 minutes, it's wonderful. It's magical. Our clinicians are fantastic. But if we're not able to break that down and give it to the parents in a tangible way, it's not going to generalize or carry over into all of the other areas of their life. And then we have family members and people wondering, well, what's the point in all of this, you know? And so really being able to take what we do, break it down, make it practical and applicable, and not just sitting and doing rote routines. It really fills my heart with so much joy watching all of the goodness that comes. Our therapists really are truly amazing, and I learn so much from them every day.
Every day. Well, and really, just so y'all know, I mean, I have to hit on this really quick. Getting a hold of my own daughter, I have to get on her schedule. So between my schedule, her schedule, we have to like schedule time.
This
I
is
even
actually
just for
very scheduled.
yes. Well, I was going to say, even for this podcast, you're like tucked into a closet somewhere at one of your
Uh-huh.
clients.
Yep.
Literally. That's why the
Yep.
background, that's not your office, but that's
No.
it's like go in here. So
I
I
am.
appreciate you carving out this time, for sure. What were you going to say?
No, I appreciate it. We both have like carved out our time, and this is how it works. It's just, and we
Yeah,
scheduled it several weeks in advance, so it works for us.
that's it. That's it. That's it. That's exactly it. There's one other piece that your company does that I am very much my heart is very much involved in. It's the hippotherapy. Tell us a little bit about that and what I didn't, I'll be honest, you said I'm going hippos. Where do you get
Hippos.
hippos? I'm going, is it like a merry-go-round?
It's Greek for
Honestly.
horse. It's horses. So we last year we were able to do a pilot program and found out that this is an incredibly valid and magical part of therapy. And so we have one of our physical therapists, Stacey Aspinwall, approached me 2 years ago and was like, Rach, I have this crazy idea. And I'm just like, bring it on. Let's go for it. And sure enough, went through all the trainings. Stacey did, went through all the trainings and has learned immensely over the past couple of years. And so we have been able to partner with Open Heart Farms here in Florida, and they have a Special Olympics team that rides horses and does horse shows. But we are able to help utilize those horses during the day to provide physical, occupational, and speech therapy with the support of horses. So it's using horses in the movement of the horse and the environment of the horse to help meet our therapeutic goals. So whether that is regulation for their system, whether that is being able to work on the vocabulary and the language involved with that, to the motor coordination from motor speech all the way through to the physical gross motor coordination. We're strengthening the core, we're strengthening the back, being able to really support that respiratory system. And it's just magical. I told Stacey, I was like, I don't know what hocus pocus you're doing out there on these horses, but this is amazing. And so it truly works. And the generalization, it carries outside of just the therapy sessions. It comes into the clinic. And so she'll see a kid on the horse, I'll see them in the clinic, and it's just all around been so supportive. And it's super fun. Yeah, that one with the
Yeah.
horses.
Yes. And I
I
must
love
say,
it.
as a mom, it's been awesome watching this for you. Only because I remember as a child, there was a friend you would always hang out with, and they had horses, and you'd come home. Yeah, we were bareback swimming here. So I'm like, what on horses? So to you to have this love that started so long
Yeah.
ago, and then now you're able to literally see it come full circle, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
you were exposed to horses, and this just
Yep.
really, I would have no clue. I walk out there and go, whoa,
It's a
but
lot
to
of
see
fun.
it.
I have a client that on over the summer, she's super excited on Monday mornings. She is going to get up and she is going to come and meet me out on the farm. She's 17. Meet me out on the farm, and her job is going to be to get all of the horses ready for the day, and we're going to go out and get them. I'm so excited about it. It's
That's
super
awesome.
fun. It's been a wonderful program. In March we were able to get that back up and running, and the way that the community has responded to it and the children have responded to it in the therapy sessions, it's really been great. So I have
That's
really
awesome.
enjoyed that.
Do you still have openings? Like even you could take more
We
clients
do,
in it?
and
Okay.
yeah, we do still have openings in that, and then we also are expanding, layering in different days. So right now we have that on our Mondays, and then over the summer we're adding in different days. Florida, we have summer weather here, so we have to navigate the heat as well as the summer rainstorms. So definitely will be
Gotcha.
a learning opportunity to expand our mindset around scheduling.
Okay. Got it. Well, I want to jump back. There was a couple things you said. I definitely want to make sure we dive into I love your parent coaching approach. Of course, you know
Mm,
that's my heart, me being coach and
yeah.
all you and I talking with that. But let's just over the past year, if you were to really think about just the past year, I know you talked about your business has been going 3 years, but let's just bring it back to the past year. What do you think has been one of the biggest areas of growth for you personally?
It's funny because there was a thought at the beginning of this that was like, if I had to choose one word, what would my word be for all of this from an expansion space? And my word was actually growth.
Mm,
And the reason why growth is my word, I think it's a simple word, but I think it's very powerful, and I think that it encapsulates a lot of different areas of expansion, right? And I know that we've talked about this a lot between you and I, but something is always growing. And whether it's roots, whether it's leaves, whether it's the stem that grows the flowers. My husband's really into orchid growing, and if you learn about orchids, it is crazy to me how orchids grow and how they store energy and how there's a part of the orchid that's always growing, but it depends on the fuel that you put into it or the environment that it's in, depends on what's growing. So will it be the roots? Will it be a leaf? Will it be a stem? Will it be, we don't know. So I think that this concept of growth for me has really been through this whole journey what has gotten me to where I am now. And continuing that perspective is what's going to continue to allow us to expand in the direction that aligns with our vision going forward. I I think that where we have really focused our growth and honing in on that, we've had to be adaptable. There have been things that have come up that have been completely unexpected, and you have to be adaptable and be able to adapt. We have had to really refine our systems extensively. We've expanded spaces, we've expanded offices, and as you go through and have this actual physical growth of space, you then have to have this flexible thinking mindset that comes with that and shift and change. And it's all growth that has been able to allow us to really deepen our mission, but stay rooted in our purpose and in all of it too. I think this is an important word as well because it's very easy as a business owner. I'm an operator, but I also work in my business. I'm a therapist too. It's very easy to pour into one and not the other of those
mm,
areas. And the next thing you know, other things are growing that I'm not focusing on. It's like in a garden, like you have weeds that pop up, but either you pick them out or they become much more deeply rooted in what you're doing. And so for me, I think if I think on the past year and think about where it is and the things that have got me to this point, I think it's growth, all around
mm,
growth, not just as an organization, but as an individual, as a person, as a leader, and as a clinician.
mhm. No, I love how you say that, yeah, something's always growing or it's not, right? It
Yeah.
really is. You're either growing, it's so you and I both have a mutual dear mentor, Evie, and she would say, you're either dying or you're living. That is
Yeah.
it. There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
And that is where the whole concept of expansion came from. So thank you for bringing up that weeds piece because I want you to think about your obstacles, right, that you
Mm-hmm.
face. Who doesn't have obstacles first and foremost, right? It's what do
Mm-hmm.
we want to do with those obstacles and what place do they play?
Sure.
So if you're always expanding, what are you expanding? Are you expanding the garden that you want to grow, or are you expanding the weeds? Because in all honesty, weeds
Mm-hmm.
will take over every single
Mm-hmm.
time. I've seen that in gardening. So as you think about your obstacles that you've been through, as you think about what those obstacles have taught you, and I know I haven't prepped you for this question, but just hang with me. Obstacles teach us, if we allow them, to adopt certain practices in our
Mm-hmm.
life that helps us navigate through the obstacles. Share with us some of the things that you've done that you've put into your life, because I know you have, as practices to really go, all right, I got to do this or else I'm growing the
Yeah.
weeds.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think some of the obstacles that we face in my organization, staffing is really hard, and I know in a lot of organizations, staffing is really hard. We have had since COVID a huge influx of people, of children that need therapy and therapy services, but also we have a field that is very, very prone to burnout, very prone to burnout, and so we are losing therapists more than what we're gaining therapists. But the therapists that we're gaining in all reality, the ones that are now coming out of school have to gain their experience somehow, right? But when we have all of our experienced clinicians that are burnt out and going out of the field, it's very difficult for that experience to be gained. And so trying to find the balance in training team members and getting them up to speed. We have something we say at GTG that we're learners, not knowers, and it's really important for us. Even though there's this strong grounded confidence in the experience that we have, right? We're professionals, we're trained in what we do, there is never anyone that knows everything about every aspect about what we do. There's always something new that's being researched. There's always something, and staying current and staying on top of it. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and it's even hard sometimes for me and our other experienced clinicians on staff to stay current with all of the information that's coming out. So imagine these newer clinicians that are under 5 years experience that are being hit with a fire hose. Not only do you have information and technology coming out at you 90 miles an hour, but then you're new to this field. And so trying to give give our staff a footing to make them feel strong and feel capable, but not overwhelmed and drowning to where we're burning out and having to change positions every 2 years because we're exhausted. That has been really tough. And then we also deal with insurance. That's a lot of fun to deal with. Payer sources and having to just navigate the differences and all of that and putting systems in place to support it. And then I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I have 3 very active kids that are all involved in a lot
Imagine
of
that.
different things. I have twin girls that are 11, and my son is 15 and in high school. And I just find that time is probably one of the biggest obstacles. I find myself feeling as though I'm not able to give my 100% to every single area or aspect of my life. And so those are some big obstacles that I face. So your follow-up question to the obstacles are what are some practices that I put in place to help manage all of that? I really have to I have to keep a structured routine when it comes to my Sundays going into my Mondays. I have to be able to take my Sunday and look at what it is that's coming up. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to, and so that time blocking is really important for me. And if I don't take the time to do my time blocking and put it into the space, I find myself feeling out of sorts. But then once I have done the time blocking, I have to remind myself to trust the process. There's a time and place for this, and that's not right now. That's Thursday at 2 o'clock. Like, so I have to like leave it in that bucket. I know, and stay in this bucket. And when you're balancing all of that, it's really tough. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's easy to lose focus of the
Yeah.
vision. It's easy to there a lot comes up through everybody's
Yeah.
day. This is just me,
Yeah.
but everybody has these
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that come up. And that, I mean, obstacles for me, I think if we are to really take a step back and look at it, all we can do is learn from it. It's
Yeah.
all we can do. You can't, you really can't make them go away. You can't change them, but even if you could, would you really change them? I think the biggest thing that we can do is learn from them.
Yeah.
And my hope is that, well, I actually know that at GTG, we really do have a team that collaboratively learns through these processes and even supports
Yeah.
each other in these processes as much as we really truly can.
Yeah. I happen to know on this side, being your mom,
Sure.
um, the culture and the foundation and the mission, the purpose, all of those pieces that build an organization that you built GTG around. And a lot of that is, right? How do we learn and
Yeah.
grow from every situation? And we always learn what we want by what we don't want, right? In our past
Yeah.
experiences. So you have worked really hard, and I know firsthand, to really create a different culture at GTG. So
Hmm.
much so that you do have people waiting or wanting to come work for you, right? Because of that culture and because, or even surprised
Right.
by your culture when they get there. So I want to go back up a little bit. Parent coaching approach.
Hmm.
I have watched you innately do this for years. I don't know if it's because your mom's a coach and so you've been around the coaching
I've
technique
been
for
coached for years. Is that what you're saying?
you've been around it all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember even shortly out of college at one of your very, very first jobs,
Hmm.
just listening to you talking about your interactions with parents. And I remember you coming home, or not coming home, because you and I were on the phone. I didn't live down where you lived, but you were going, Mom, how can a child be held responsible for this to be successful if the
Yeah.
parents are not bought in, if the parents are not a part of
Right.
it? And there was such a connection for you. And I
Hmm.
watched you literally on your own, new student out of school, literally shift your focus to building
Right.
relationship with your parents. So tell us, I'm going to quit talking about it and let you, this whole parent coaching approach that you do,
Right.
tell us the crux of that. You're training a whole entire team. What, 23 therapists also do it, right? Because they don't teach this
Hmm.
at school. So share with me a
No,
little
they
bit
really
behind the
don't.
curtain. Yeah.
Yeah, they really don't. And, there's a lot of different models out there. There's professional driven models, expert driven models, and then there's collaborative models out there. And I think that the important thing to start with this is just because this is the model that works for me and that resonates with me and that I personally know and have a lot of research that supports this. There are other clinicians that are excellent at their job that do take a different approach. This is what resonates with me and what I have found to be most natural to my practice. But there's also a ton of research that supports we don't do life alone. We are meant to be collaborative beings and we are meant to do life together with other people. I don't know how many parents there are that listen, but I do know that there is a saying, well, they don't send them home with manuals, right? From the hospital, meaning, and it's
Yeah.
true. I think that there in the workforce we call it imposter syndrome, but as a parent we feel that constantly, and I can say that just with my own 3 kids and we were even talking about it this morning on a personal level, right? Like, am I
Mhm.
doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And so
Yeah.
coming alongside and partnering with the parent, because as much as I'm an expert in what it is that I do, they really are the expert of their child. They know their child. And if there are things that we can come together and see each each other's perspectives and help grow and learn from each other, the results to that are immense. And there's tons of research to support that approach too. And so, what we really do when we apply parent coaching, I think that these are coaching strategies that can be applied in really any form of leadership or any form of relationship building. We have to keep in mind we're working with adult learners, and adult learners work totally different than children that can be told how to do things. Adult learners have to be able to be tangible, um, really be in the approach with you, and then they have to problem solve it, or else you're going to have their ego really rear up at you and be like, I don't know if I need to do that, you know? So, the first thing that we have to do when we're working with parents is we have to be very specific about what we're doing and the steps that we're going to take to get there. We have to be able to state specifically, here's what we're targeting, and here is the exact strategy that we're going to be using with that. And then we have to be able to state why that's important. So first we have to state, here's what we're targeting, and then we state, here's why we're targeting. If we don't give the why, then there's not going to be any buy-in to that process. And if there's no buy-in to the process, or if it's not important to that person that we're speaking to, are they really going to be supportive of what you're doing? I can have some fantastic goals, but if that goal is not important to that family and it's not relevant to what they do in everyday life, then they're not going to work on it. So then what you're doing really is rather pointless, you know. After we state the importance of it, we then have to be able to demonstrate and point out what we're looking for and how that technique is done. And after we demonstrate that, we then let the parent practice. And when we let them practice and bring them into that process, they're able to learn in an environment that's safe. And then you have a professional that's there telling you, this was great, let's try it this way too, and can give feedback on what they do. I think the biggest part of this coaching piece of bringing them in and allowing them to be part of developing those goals, having the buy-in and knowing the importance of what we're doing, and then being able to practice that in the session, is then being able to ask them those questions of, how did that work for you? How do you see yourself using these strategies at home? How do you see this? How do you see yourself taking this to the next level? What else could you try? And really having those problem solving moments, and then say, okay, so you told me you're going to work on this at home. I'll see you next week. And then when they come back next week, you actually have to ask them how it went. Because if you don't ask them how it went, then you've just told them that what you're doing is not important, that you're not going to follow up with them about what it is that they've done. So that follow-up piece is really important too. And what you may find is that sometimes our goals and our directions have to change. You know, our parents sometimes come back and say, you know, I thought that this was going to be really easy to implement because it seemed super easy while we were here, and that was not easy to implement. And so we have to practice more, or we have to teach more. And then other times we find that that goal that we're working on may not be as relevant as they thought that it once was. Sometimes it becomes, you know, maybe I thought I wanted to work on this, or I thought that this is the direction I wanted to go, but that vision and that goal has changed. And it's our job as therapists to be able to sift through that and help give them that support.
How have you seen this approach like affecting your staff as they've had to learn it? Because obviously you're teaching it to them.
I think it's important that every clinician is different and has their own approaches and philosophies that they operate by. But it is very important to us in our hiring process that we ask these types of questions from the beginning, because we want to establish alignment from the beginning with what that looks like for them, and does this approach resonate with you? A lot of our team members in their interview process have said, I love having parents involved in my sessions, and here's how I've done it, you know, and that makes my job as a training clinician so much easier because they already believe in that philosophy. It's already how they operate. And then we just put the GTG methodology in with that, So in my interview process, having that alignment with
Mhm.
with the clinician from the get-go makes our training so much easier because it's innate, it's
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
Um, I think the other part is really getting comfortable with making it conversational, but making it conversational that's driving to a positive outcome
Mhm.
is really where we go. I think our culture does a really great job at telling families from the beginning, especially if families are asking questions,
Mhm.
being able to look at that parent and say, actually, that's a really great question. I've got some great team members. Let me talk to my team members and we'll get back to you next week when we talk about that. I mean, I do that constantly. And then I like am on the phone, like with the ladies. It all is like, hey, here's the question we got.
Yeah.
Um, Kat, our operations director, she just sent out an email this past week and she was like, all right, let's talk pacifiers. We've had lots of questions come up about thumb
That's
sucking and
awesome.
pacifiers. And it's so
Yeah.
fun because now all you have all the clinicians that are like,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you I would like to say to answer your question, I have some magical potion and magical system in place to train my staff in these things. But that's how we have chosen to expand intentionally within our staff. We have hired people that already are implementing these things in what they do. And so connecting and aligning with them has been very natural for
Yep.
us.
No, it makes sense. And it shows once you're locked in and you know what your culture, you know what you're expanding, you know what
Right,
your culture is. When you
right,
know it, you have the opportunity to choose it.
right,
And you've heard it your whole life. Awareness is your power to
right.
choose, right? So if you
Mhm.
don't have the awareness, you don't know that there's a choice there. And
Yeah.
so no, I've actually seen it. And it's the other piece that I know that you've embraced is that parent involvement, but it's so much bigger than that. It's whole self-involvement.
Mhm.
It's the actual understanding of expansion. Because think about how much sense this would be. Okay, you're a therapy group working with kids. Hey, mom, you stay here. We're going to take your kid. You go what, the 20, 30 minutes or whatever you do, and then bring them back. See ya. What is that expanding, right? And you don't
Yeah.
have the connection there. You don't have the growth there. So yeah, you've
Yeah.
embraced the whole thing. So.
Yeah.
I do have
Yeah.
a stretch question for you before we wrap up.
Ah,
Are you ready for this one?
bring
All
it
right.
on.
All right. So, what kind of legacy or ripple effect do
Mm.
you hope your story will inspire in others?
That's a big question.
So, it's a stretch question.
It's a big question. I'm going to stretch with it.
Okay.
So, our mission at GTG is to enhance, enrich, elevate the quality of life for everyone involved in the therapeutic process. I think a lot of times in medical environments, it is the medical professional that is consistently being asked to compromise themselves, their own well-being, despite being in a medical realm. And and that is something that ripple effect wise, I really genuinely hope to shift and change through this process. I want the parents, and we talked about parent coaching a lot. I want the parents to be fully able to embrace their child for the gift and the blessing that they are, exactly as they are, but know that there's support and there's opportunity for growth in every single person, in every single human being. And if we can support in that process, I want to be able to partner with you to do it. I want every child to feel loved, but I should not more than anything, like all encompassing, I want the therapist to know that the work that they do matters and it's seen and it's making a difference. And you know what? Your well-being and mental health and time with your family and all of that matters too. And so finding that balance is so important. And that's really the ripple effect that I hope to put into play going forward, is that every single piece of this therapeutic process is able to be enriched because we are all fully engaged and in it together. And so the work we do is work of heart. It is work that is very hard. It is not always glamorous. We're getting kicked and punched and spit on, but like
Literally.
not by everybody, but like
Yeah.
sometimes that's really the case. Yesterday I was covered in strawberry oatmeal for like 90% of the day from my morning session, but like I
Right.
just I know that at the end of the day that the work that I did made a difference. And that's what really fuels me to keep going and to keep showing up. And if I can create an environment that is able to overflow that into our clinicians so that they are
Yeah.
able to feel whole, then they're able to continue providing the healing work that they do because they're being filled in return. And so often in our fields, we're focused so much. And I get it. I'm a business owner. Like you have to focus on the numbers and the sessions and like,
Mhm.
yeah, I get all of it. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the people in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. I'm over here just beaming. I don't even know if you remember this conversation because I'm literally watching right in front of my eyes everything about who you are fully manifesting. And to see your tears, I mean, literally takes me back to the day because I'm seeing it being manifested. And again, it was your first job. You were right out of school, and we would have a lot of calls at that time because it was like, you were experiencing so many new things. And there was a mom that had just gotten the diagnoses of an autistic child. A lot of times therapists know the diagnosis before the parent does, right? And that's the
Right.
reality of your field and how to navigate all of that. And you knew that this day was coming.
Right.
And I will never forget you telling me the story that you walked outside and the parent was there, broken, just crying. And but you had known um, plenty of time before. And the mom was in the whole natural space of why me, why us, why this. And your response to her, and I will never, ever forget it, was why not you? And I remember you said at that moment that mom just looked up and looked at you. And again, had you not had this
Right.
drive to tap into that parent,
Mm.
right, you would not have been connected to that moment. And
Right.
then what all went on as you continued to provide therapy for that child. So I know firsthand
Mhm.
that this is your heart. This is why your business, Rachel, has grown like it's grown. This is why it's still growing for
Right.
anybody in your area because they come in and they feel the energy of GTG. Energy meaning literally the frequency that your culture runs off of. And
Yeah.
it's life giving. So I'm honored to be your mom. I'm honored to literally be in your presence, be with you today on this podcast. Thank you for being here. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything else you want to
Mhm.
say?
No, I'm so grateful to be a part, and I'm so proud of you and so proud of everything that you're expanding and that you're doing and the way that this is just going to continue to ripple out into the community to bring together those people that are like-minded and that want to continue to learn and grow and do life together. Because when you get a group together that loves doing that, you're unstoppable. So it's been great. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.